Hello, this is Positive Vibes Enterprise. I am Tom Goodwin. This is Michelle Ronquillo.
Hi, everybody.
And what we're talking about today has to do with breathing and trauma.
Yeah, this is a very important topic. Just recently, I had a little bit of experience with trauma, and I literally needed the meditations. When the meditations did not work, it was important that I went straight to the meditative trainings of Tom.
Which is meditative walking. It's the meditative walking exercise. And why meditative walking? Because walking is one of the most basic activity you can possibly do. So I never was very good at Tai Chi because I have, I'm different neurologically. I don't have the finer motor skills or to handle complexity like that. But that was good, because I could design a very basic core system that was simple, that could be adjusted to anybody.
And here it is. I was in the middle of this trauma, and the movements of the meditative walks with the breathing is what helped me grab my center, because it was about the body balancing with the breathing what you were having to control in the state of mind that you were, what I was in.
Well, I went through a really intense, I went through a lot of intensity in 1992. I was trying to reach the public back then, and the pressure was, I always, felt like I was good with pressure because that's what I trained for back then. And I did breathing exercises, and I actually did meditative walking back then, but a very simple, basic type, not a type that was really pushing it. And what I found is what happened was the pressure got my heart racing. And since I had done extreme physical exercise and recovered afterwards by doing the breathing to keep my heart steady, I knew how to protect my heart when it was losing rhythm, which is my vulnerability, being neurologically different. I was born that way. And so I was losing rhythm. So I had to keep my breathing going to keep my rhythm, but it would never end. Meaning I had to do it on and on and on because the pressure was, it was continuous. So I couldn't sleep. And at a certain point, my body couldn't handle it anymore. And that's when I had the near-death experiences. And a lot of people have near-death experiences without it being verified by medical professionals.
Yeah.
And you can't always get things verified. And some people don't go to medical professionals because they don't want to get killed by the medical professionals, because their body is so different than the medical professionals wouldn't be able to handle it carefully enough. People like me that do unusual things with their body that are against the rules all the time are not the best people to have medical professionals tamper with. Because
yeah, that's for sure. And, this also includes people with panic attacks. It includes people with anxiety, because I have those things. And using Tom's techniques has literally helped me get the balance I need to control these without medications. Mind you, there's times when you're not strong enough yet, you barely just started exercising, that you might need to take some kind of prescriptions from your doctor to help with anxiety. But the mindset is to do it on your own. The mindset is to get to your physical level of training.
No, I'm not against medical professionals. It's just that I was born so different that I've had problems with medical professionals. But I'm an outlier. I'm not a normal person. So therefore, I'm not going to tell anybody not to use medical professionals because they're very, very good for most people.
Yeah.
It's just that a very rare exceptions like me.
And like me, I don't choose to go to the medical profession. I want to do it myself.
But what I mean is, that's why when you're doing these, like when 1992, it was anxiety was involved in that, making my heart race and losing my rhythm. And that anxiety almost killed me. So I developed a meditative exercise to be able to handle the intensity that I was unable to handle. And I developed those techniques along with an astrology system and all kinds of other in spiritual theory.
Amazing.
And it all came together. But the meditative walking was the important thing that trained me and continually developed as I developed the other things. I had to keep up in my game.
Another thing that I want to talk about too is the low energy state. Now, when you're in trauma or when you're having emotional crisis, it is good to understand that the low energy state is going to be where reality is. It's going to be where that breathing is going to take you. It's going to be where that meditation is also going to take you. And it's also going to be able to calm your senses to understand what you're going through with a reality-based understanding that you stand in a place of strength.
And it will give you more body awareness. It will tune you into your body. Not only that, but it tunes you into your surroundings
yes,
a lot. It does both inner and outer at the same time. Even though if you have emotions that are affecting you, you're going to tune into the inner, and you're going to be you tune into how you feel, and you have to. Actually, the body sort of like mirrors how you feel. Exactly. Your breathing mirrors how you feel. I developed the exercise because when you're in a panic state and you get breathing a certain way, I was saying that breathing mirrors the emotion. So I was going to try to put myself in the type of breathing one's going to do in an intensely emotional state. That way I could get used to that state.
And then once you get the rhythm of the breathing and you're moving,
and your movement
will get a calm type of energy state.
And the movement will express your feelings. It's like a dance in a way too. Your feelings will come out through your movement. And that's a way of connecting yourself to a oneness emotionally of body and mind.
Yes. Okay, Tom, we have Don asking, are there different ways to breathe in different kinds of trauma? For example, physical pain versus panic attack.
Well, actually, the breathing is very similar. I deal with almost everything with the same type of breathing technique which I have in my meditative walking, which is controlled hyperventilation. Now, the medical professionals usually see hyperventilation when it comes to sick patients, so they see it only in a negative connotation. But if you control it and you get used to it, like when you train for something, you can get very good at handling something.
Give them an example of a panic attack breathing, how you would...
I do that with my dumbbell swing. And you could see I could do that. And what did it do to me? I'm still relaxed. It didn't drive me crazy.
Now let's show them an example of breathing if you have physical pain. Maybe
I think when I have physical pain, I'm probably going to do more deep breathing. Like that.
Also, do you have any suggestions for people with very limited movement?
The thing is, the thing with meditation is the more difficult it is, the more effective it is. So if you can just if moving one finger is difficult, then you do your breathing and you move your one finger. You put all your intensity in the one finger if that's all you got.
That's great.
And that, you see, because I've developed a technique for everybody.
Everybody. I mean, this works.
And I developed the spiritual theory. So therefore, since I developed these spiritual theories, I can adjust it. And that's what I tell people to do. I have the meditative exercise. You do the shoulder movement. Why do you do the shoulder movement? Because you want to stimulate the brain and you want to get the blood circulation. And you want to get that reptilian part of your brain, which has to do with breathing and all your automatic reactions and controls and deals with panic attacks, under control. So you want to do this. And you do this real intensely. And it will have an impact on you when you're doing the meditative walk with the meditative breathing. It will slow you down, and it will help you to be able to handle things, handle a lower energy state, like lower than you would think is possible. In other words, you can be walking in a state where other people would be dropped because they couldn't move anymore. But because you're doing this, you get the brain operating on such an intense level and getting the blood circulation that you're able to stay in a low energy state and handle the low energy state. And the low energy state is what helps you to handle pain. It helps you to handle trauma, and it helps you to handle anxiety. Meaning, it's this thing that connects you.
Yes, it really does.
It cleans you right out because it's so intense. It's more intense than anything you've ever gone through in the past. It brings the intensity to the now. In other words, if you do something more intense than anything in the past, everything in the past will just disappear because you're dealing with more intensity in the present.
Exactly.
Than the past.
You can also, if you're limited with mogul, you can use your arms as well. You can, like
you
Tom
can
says,
do whatever you want.
Whatever you want that you feel that you can match that breathing with. Dawn says, that's amazing. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Dawn, for your awesome questions.
Shoulder movement. If you can do the shoulder movement at all,
that is the best
key.
thing. It is the key because it helps with the oxygen. Now, another thing that's very important is being spiritually aware of the trauma. What is it?
Okay. We had temporary pause. Okay,
yes, but spiritually awareness of the trauma and what you're going through is very important because in that low energy state, you are aware of what that trauma or panic or anxiety is coming in, what it's about. So you can also meditate and breathe it through. And you're not denying it or pushing those feelings away. You're taking control of what you're feeling in that moment and literally picking out, this was the other point, picking out the delusions and illusions that fear causes people. You have to understand the awareness of what is reality and what is illusions coming out of that trauma.
It has a strong ability to connect you with reality. One of the things that when I was developing my spiritual theories for my astrology system, which I believe is a very amazing new system,
yes,
and I think
it is.
And so when I was developing it, when I was developing my astrology system, YouTube is going crazy on me. When I video output, that's different. That'll work. Okay, when I was developing it, I would be doing the meditative walk, and I couldn't do the meditative walk past a certain point without my mind interfering and bringing up theories and stuff that I hadn't worked on well enough that were blocking me. In other words, in order to handle a really intense spiritual state, you have to have theories that enable you to handle that state. If you have spiritual theories that aren't good enough, they're going to keep you from going there. You won't be able to quiet your mind. You won't be able to focus and go more intensely into the movements. You just won't be able to handle it. Your mind will wander and you will lose it because you have to have that focus. And that's how I developed a lot of my spiritual theories. So one thing about meditative walking is it helps you to have a stronger connection with reality. It grounds you. And it also helps you to develop precision of movement. Your growth body's movements can become very, very precise and careful, and you get real good control over them and real good precision with them. Even though I have lousy finer motor skills, I was born that way, my growth motor skills are incredible, and they have real good precision and care with them. So it's almost like I put the finer motor skills into my growth motor skills.
Yeah, and I think that's important here is this is a gradual buildup. It is something that you have to practice yourself. Even with me, I'm getting to that point where if anxiety or panic or trauma or anything that comes up, the first natural reactions that my body wants is exercise, meditative exercise. I'm at the gym now. I'm working on now, especially after the trauma that I just experienced yesterday. I'm up in my game with my meditative walks because I learned what I need to do in those states where I can focus, train into these moments, and then that way the next time something comes up, I am ready. I got my meditative program set with Tom and get that in gear because it's not just breathing. It's the meditative movements that's going to do it. Because especially I'm telling you, when it comes to panic and you get those high intense breathing problems going on because you're going to hyperventilate, you do those rhythms, meditative breathing, that Tom's techniques are amazing. You need to go back and you need to watch the video.
I will post my
He'll have the
WordPress
link.
blog.
Oh, read that as well.
And that actually, I'll post that because that actually has the video attached to it. I put it all. I try to make things really simple because I have stuff all over the internet and nobody.
This is it. If I can do it, you can do it, because I'm telling you.
What I mean is, it's just not getting the attention it deserves. And I'm trying to make it as simple as I can, and as I reach more people and they experience
it. You need to experience it.
Then they'll know it works, because it's something new, and people are always afraid of stuff that's new.
But I'm a guinea pig, so I'm ready. I'm always a spiritual pioneer like Tom, ready to evolve myself.
But the people that really are desperate in need of stuff will be open to it. It's just, those are the people that come first, are the people that really feel like they have to do something, that they have a desperation level. And of course, I've had a desperation level all my life. I'm always desperate to get better.
And I also want to express this, that after the trauma that I experienced, I did go on a meditative walk the following day. And I'll tell you, it was rough. Why? Because as I'm walking, doing my movements, the body was releasing all that anxiety inside. And it was amazing healing. It felt like my soul was being wrung out. And it was all thanks to Tom's wonderful meditative training.
And my meditative training actually became better as a result of Harvey, because I used the energy of Harvey to improve my system. Because how could I miss an opportunity like that, even though it's a terrible thing, that Houston wasn't ready for.
But the intensity needs it. And
but trauma is terrible, but you have to feel the trauma and be around trauma in order to find solutions to it. In other words, you have to face terrible problems head on, and then you have to experiment and figure out how better to handle them.
Yeah, definitely. And then you'll notice the difference in your control. You'll notice the difference when your body needs to get out of that anxiety. It'll naturally want to do in the rhythm of breathing and moving, and you'll see a difference in your whole mind, body, and spirit's health as well.
And actually, I started meditating I think it was 1987. I was doing a sitting meditation. I had been connecting with this person that had a guru, and I was just trying to figure out a little bit more about, some of the standard type meditative techniques. And I was sitting there, and I thought to myself, what would happen if I got up and walked in this state? And that's how it all started.
And that's how it all rolled down.
That's my creative side. I've always been that way.
Yes.
And so that's how it started. But then in 1992, I found that I had to improve on the meditative walk. It just wasn't good enough. In other words, I had to face, that how lousy I really was. I thought I had really together. I thought I had developed a lot of strength and spiritual awareness. And little did I know how little I knew at that time, how far behind I was. But I didn't know the world was so backward then. In other words, I thought if I only improved a little bit, it would make a difference. But I just didn't know that this world needs to really do a quantum leap. It can't just do just a little improvement. We have to do a lot of improvement.
Yeah, real quick,
So it's been decades in its development. So in other words, that's why I'm so good at it, because you do anything for decades, and you take it's now 2017, so you can say I've been doing it for 3 decades, and you do anything for 3 decades, you're going to be good at it. I mean, most people don't have that kind of ability to endure at something and focus on something that intensely for that long.
Okay, so before we let you go, I do want to say a few things. First is that we are so grateful for our viewers, And the more sharing and subscribing that you do, the more we can get this out and rolling. Also, try the meditative techniques, man. It works so good.
And it is a spiritual development technique, so it does deal with emotions, because emotions power the spiritual. And it deals with past emotions. It deals with present emotions, and I say even future emotions, because what you're doing in the future is you're developing your emotions further. So you want to get a jump in the future by developing the ability to handle more emotions that you're not yet capable of handling.
Yes.
In other words, so you want to get an ability to handle emotions that you have not, that are stronger than anything you've have faced. In other words, you want to get a jump.
Yes, and you got to understand that emotions deal with your nerves, and we always say go to the doctor, but we recommend highly B-complex vitamins, and also something that Tom has turned me on to is calcium, magnesium, zinc.
Yeah, they're very.
It is amazing.
They relax the nerves.
Amazing. And so that was the last thing that I wanted to add in this whole thing, is that when you really understand how much control you can have when you're going through a trauma state in just breathing and moving, try Tom's technique.
And when I had my near-death experience, I had gone off my B vitamins because I listened to the medical profession saying it didn't need them. And the thing is, I'm neurologically different. I have to have my B-complex vitamins.
Man, they're amazing. It helps with the nerves.
And as soon as I went back on the B-complex vitamins, it took care of the whole everything came back to normal again. So in other words, I made it rougher on me by getting off the B vitamins, but that way I had to face some issues I wouldn't face if I had the protection of the B vitamins. In other words, I had to get off of that. So that's an interesting thing. But the thing is, when I talk about, of course, the medical profession does not understand our techniques, so you have to be careful. But at the same time, I do not recommend anybody neglect consulting their medical professionals, because you have certain conditions and all. You have to be aware of it, and you have to be aware of your limitations, and you have to adjust the routine so you don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, even at the low state that I'm starting, you always have to know your limits and know what you can do. And
we want, we'd like more medical professionals to have more understanding of nutrition.
Yeah.
And we
welcome the yoga teachers and all that wonderful medical field that needs to try out Tom's amazing technique.
In other words, there are a lot of people that have a certain degree of common ground to me, and they may not go as intense as me, but they're just a little bit. It would take a little bit for them to make that jump, meaning there's a lot of people that could make the jump that I've already made very quickly. And I don't mind if they get better than me, and they'll probably get better than me
that's what we're
because
wanting.
The thing is, I'm neurologically different, which made me able to develop the technique, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be the best at doing it. I'm just a developer of the technique. The people that come later will become better at doing it, and I don't really care, because my focus is on making this world a better place. It's not about being the best at doing the techniques. I'm the inventor of the creator of the technique, and even though some people say, "Oh, I've already been doing the techniques," to a degree they have, because they're natural techniques, but they don't do it to the degree that I've taken it. And a lot of times these people will skim through what I'm reading, and they'll think they're doing it the way I'm doing it, but they don't have no idea. That's almost why I have to teach it in person at the beginning, because it's hard to teach the nuances of the intensity. That's why I had to show it on video, because it works a lot more than video talking about.
And we're here to ask any questions. Tom's here to answer them for you.
I'm very creative. That's what I do too. I can create answers on the spot that will be very reasonable, because I'm programmed a certain way with certain theories, and all I do is apply the theories on the spot with my creativity.
Yeah. Positive Vibes Enterprise are here to help you.
Okay, this is Positive Vibes Enterprise, and the subject today was breathing in trauma.
And Tom's amazing meditative technique that gets you through the breathing.
It's amazing to me to me. What it means, my mind.
To me.
My mind is blown by what I developed.
My mind is blown how much it works.
So, in other words, I'm always, so to me, but, you know, that's why I don't mind the fact that I've had to struggle for survival my whole life, and that it's been, you know what I mean, it's been a sense of urgency, a desperation my whole life, because out of that desperation, I'm able to go places that are amazing. Yeah. And so, you know, so even though, you know, it's very nerve-wracking, it you know, takes everything out of you. It has its pluses. Of course, not everybody is cut out to do what I do, but that's why I enjoy what I'm doing, because it is that way.
So come back and get more from Positive Vibes.
But I want people to spread the word, because as I say, I have all this stuff. I believe it's amazing and wonderful. And I'm not afraid to apply it to people when, you know, they're in desperate state, because I have the courage of my conviction that it works. And I know it works. And usually when you know it that deeply, it does work.
That's right.
Because you can't fool it.
Passion.
Yeah. So, so spread the word. Yes. Try to get more than 15 subscribers.
Yes.
I mean, 15 watches to this video. We need one of them to go viral, because if one of them goes viral, they'll all start going viral.
People will be able to try Tom's wonderful meditative techniques in breathing and trauma. Thank you all for watching.
Yes, thank you. And I hope we didn't have too much mess up with the...
we are who we are. Positive Vibes Enterprise.
Yeah, because the video quality, I'm sure it's a little mixed up, but I think we got our point across.
You know, we are in hurricane land right now, so the
things are going crazy.
Things are going crazy all over. And, Houston, strong. Houston. And their surrounding areas, Galveston, Texas City.
Yeah, it's affecting our internet reception,
our radio
and stuff
waves.
Like that. But we do the best we can, and the spiritual will take care of it one way or another.
That's right. Till next time.
Yeah.